Okay, welcome back. We are going to actually. Welcome back. We are going to actually. Okay, I'm sorry for the audio again, and it is. We are. This is an overview of the bike, and this is kind of where we're at, and it is. Everything is really going swimmingly. It's very nice. Um, I'm actually going to start going over some of the issues that we have with some of the parts. So I'm going to go over some of the items right now. And um, these are not parts that I'm going to install exactly right now, but I'm going to down the road. So they are not fixes that are necessarily quick. I'm not saying that they are hard. They are as easy as probably you can have, but they are um, um, they are going to be um, need to be done. And let me get this camera adjusted first. But one of the issues that we're having is the final drive that came on the bike is really absolutely trashed. And here's the final drive. And you're going to see, here's one that I've actually already rebuilt. This is for an Eldorado. Now, do you see how the spline in there, they are nice, crisp, and they are basically squared off. They are rectangular. They look good because they're going to mate up very well with the wheel. Here's what we have for the Eldorado. Everything is incredibly sharp. It's been worn down. It is leaking like crazy. It's leaking from every place, and the uh, the pinion moves like crazy. It is. Um, you can see me wiggling it back and forth. It should not be wiggling back and forth, and it moves in and out, which it should not be moving in and out like that. There are two sets of bearings in there. So the bearings are toast. Um, the pinion gear needs to get taken out. Um, New bearings installed. We need to evaluate the pinion gear to see how that is. And in retrospect, we're gonna discover there's actually a huge chip in it. So I just happen to have another pinion gear, and um, so it's going to have to get rebuilt. And if you, when I'm evaluating this with the one I just did for this Eldorado, there is no play in it. It turns smoothly. It has new bearings in it, though. I put new sets of bearings, um, and there's no slop in it at all. So I, uh, I'm going to have to rebuild this. And there are two seals on it. You can see an outer seal. There's actually an inner seal as well. And I am um, the rebuild is not that hard. Even changing that splined um, part of the final drive is not hard. Um, it is, but it's actually a vital component. And the nice thing is that since this really still exists, we can get all the parts. So here is a breakout of the final drive, and looking common like right in the center. That I have the cursor on 49. That's the pinion gear. Number 40 are the bearings. So the bearings are toast. Um, the the pinion gear we don't know about yet, but I'm telling you, it had a huge chip in it, so it was messed up. Um, and it is going to have to get rebuilt. And I just happen to have another pinion gear, um, and these are the part numbers. Okay, here we are at the uh, here's from MG Cycle. This is the spline final drive flange for the rear drive. So it's $121. And I'm gonna say it's reasonably priced. Um, it's trashed, so it's got to get replaced. So this is a beautifully machined one. Now here is the rear pinion and gear set. Like I said, upon inspection, there's a chunk taken out of the pinion. Um, I understand that's 447, but you can find it on eBay for like $50. Let's say, just make sure it's a good quality, and also um, just make sure it looks good. But these things can be built for. I understand that it's like 447 plus that is expensive, but you can rebuild the whole thing. Now, the $60.84 for the sealing kit that includes the rear, the inner and the outer seal, and all the gaskets. So that looks kind of expensive, and it is. I don't think I purchased all of them. I think I had the inner and outer seal. The two bearings with the races, I did not buy them for $26 on MG Psycho. I actually bought them on Amazon, and they're for sale for like $7.95 to $9.95. And there's a large bearing that's like a 6-inch bearing that you can buy on eBay as well. So here is, I think ultimately I spent $9.50 for the tapered roller bearings, and you need two of them, and they'll go around the pinion drive gear, um, or the pinion drive. So obviously the bearings are messed up in the other one, and these are really all the parts. I mean, these are all the parts. I mean, it's um, and going through it is um, you've got two bearings that go on the pinion, um, and the inner and the outer seal. There are some slight different parts. Um, so go to the exploded view and make sure that you get every single part that you think you need, and you actually will be good to go. Um, Here's that huge bearing. I mean, it's a huge bearing. I actually ended up not changing it because it looked beautiful. So it was looked great, and but even those are just not that expensive, and um, it takes a little bit because they have to come from Germany, and that's fine. It is you have to plan ahead, but you can buy them on Amazon too. So those same bearings is an $8 bearing on Amazon. Um, so it is. You can be very cost effective in rebuilding that rear drive, and that rear drive you can rebuild it, and it will be excellent condition. So eBay and Amazon are your friend, as are MG Cycle. Here's the um, here is the cost of the journal bearing from MG Cycle, and I'm sorry, from Harper's, and it's not that cheap, but it is. Um, so again, here is our final drive, and it is so chewed up, and they're very sharp, and I'm moving the pinion in and out, and you should not be able to do that. I also am able to move it side to side, which you should not be able to do that. But it's it's just totally worn out. So it's worn out and it's leaking. So kind of need to um, um, get it out. And I um, um, I am going to post a video of rebuilding one of these. Right now, I'm just going to order the parts, but I got to rebuild it. I have that Eldorado rear drive there rebuilt, but I've also got another Ambassador rear drive that I have rebuilt. So this one's got to get rebuilt. Next, here is a brake spindle along with the brake spindle arm, or I guess the brake switch arm. So that lever accentuates, well, it does two things. First of all, that brake spindle is controlled by a lever that is connected to the foot brake. So when you hit the foot brake, the lever turns that, and there is a rod that's connected to the top of that little lever that accentuates the arm and stops the bike. It basically hits a lever, or it turns a lever um, to tighten up the rear brakes, but it also actuates the this switch that turns the brake lights on and off. It is a normally open switch that the moment that you release the pressure and that little pin drops, that it closes the circuit and turns the brake light on. So that is the only switch between you and actually having the brake lights on. So, and that controls the brake lights if you use the brake pedal or if you use the handbrake. So that is it. So that's the original one too, and it's in great condition. So when you're thinking something that's exposed to the elements, that's underneath the bike, and it's like 52 years old, it just looks fantastic. So I'm going to reuse that. I've already checked it out. It works. And we're going to clean up all of the parts, especially the spindle and that brake arm, and going to plate it. So going to clean it up, shine it up, plate it, and it will look beautiful and it will be protected. So we'll put a nice plating coating on that to protect it from the elements. So 50 years down the road, hopefully just like a light wash, and it will look great. And so that is the state of affairs of where we're at right now. We've got to rebuild one of the final drives.